you're going to be one of the correspondents of my travel show, which
Yes.
will happen because
We're manifesting it.
it's talking about Sagittarius is Sagittarii. It's exciting. For the next segment, celebrating Sagittariuses, and this end of the year vibe, and just Kelly in general. Happy birthday, Kelly! I wanted to do, if you're okay with it, tell me how you feel about 15 questions with a
Ooh.
Sagittarius.
Hit me with your best shot.
How do
Let's
you
see
like the
what you
photo
got.
that we're displaying? If you're listening audibly,
Where did that
Spotify,
photo come from?
um, Spotify or Apple or whatever, you're not seeing this wonderful photo. I don't
I feel like I was being a
know.
smartass with that photo for some reason.
I'm like, is that from one of her dating profiles? What's happening? Okay,
Oh my
Kelly,
God.
Kelly, young, impressionable Kelly. 15 questions.
All right.
So I'll ask them, and hopefully you won't answer them with one word. Like you said, you had a low attention span.
Okay, I'll do my best to elaborate.
Okay, give us some time.
Mhm.
All right, here we go. So question number one is, what do you think Sagittariuses are most who do you think Sagittariuses are most compatible with in terms of dating?
So my most compatible signs are Aries, um, Aquarius, I believe, and I can have some fun with the Gemini.
Hmm.
Virgos are good too, but those are kind of my top ones. And I think I've dated one of all of those. But I'm still single,
I-
so I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
be kind because every time I support my homegirl, because we are so close, so we know everything, and I'm like supporting Kelly, and they're like, they act like I'm like talking chauvinistically. I'm like, y'all don't know, I'm supporting my homegirl. Like I want her to get it in, but people take it the wrong way
But I
sometimes.
think
So.
that I'm a fire, so we were fire signs. So, sometimes that, I think showing emotion and stuff is not really like the first thing we go to. So I think that's kind of part of the problem. You kind of have to dig a little deep if you really want to, kind of get something real out of me. And some
Mm.
people just don't have that staying power, or they don't want to, go through the trouble of it, which, hey, I get it.
Oh, she's got it all figured out. Question number two. What has been one of your favorite birthday memories?
Oh gosh. Well, my birthday is interesting because it's in December, so it's right before Christmas. So it's always been hard to celebrate because it's either Christmas parties or family vacations or stuff like that. But um, I've had a lot of. I think one of my most fun birthdays, but it was also kind of traumatic, was a trip to Costa Rica.
Was that
I
was with your mother?
No, it was with three of my girlfriends. We
But you went on a trip with your mom too, right?
I did, but it wasn't for my
Okay.
birthday. We went on a European trip, in 2018. We went and hopped around Europe, which was awesome. But for that Costa Rica trip was really fun until I almost drowned whitewater rafting, but up until then, it was awesome.
Okay. Next question is, what do you miss the most about moving away from Los Angeles?
Oh, I miss hiking, I miss the ocean, I miss just the weather. And just the beautiful scenery, like being able
Hmm.
to see the mountains and the ocean and driving down PCH when I don't have to sit in traffic.
And not the people. She's saying nothing about the people.
I miss my friends, but I can see
Uh,
them in other places.
that's
But if
it.
we're talking about Los Angeles specifically, I'm gonna go geographical.
You kind of always talk about this, so this will maybe be redundant for you, but let's just
Mhm.
try.
Okay.
What would be your ideal vacation?
Ooh. My ideal vacation would probably be to unplug somewhere, and there are so many places I still wanna go that I haven't been, but I would love to, do probably like a 3-week vacation and go to as many places as possible. That would be ideal for me.
Are you ready for the next question? Because you're gonna have to dig a little deep.
Uh-oh.
I
No.
mean, I think maybe you just already know. Um, Some of the questions I felt like I was trying to ask myself. You're gonna get a little bit of that.
Okay.
Kellie, happy birthday, Kellie, Sagittarius. Woo. Um, in terms of dating, do you have a different idea of the perfect date in your 40s opposed to what you used to feel in your 30s and your 20s? Do I need
No.
to repeat the question? You got that, right?
No, I don't think I think it's still the same.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's still the same.
I don't even know what that means, but okay. I'll take it. I expected other things. Okay.
I mean, I can tell
Um
you what it is, but it's I mean, there's element because it's just an idea. It's not like a specific.
mhm.
But and there's only I probably have only had one first date that was this. And but my idea of like a great date is something very unexpected and off the wall, and where the person taking me out has everything planned out. And
Mm.
I don't have to make a decision because they asked for a date and they have the whole date already lined up. We're going wherever, but it's like something unique that I wouldn't expect. And it doesn't have to be fancy. Just like I want to know that they put some thought into it. And that's really like it. That's always been kind of my thing.
Not to step in, and I might be so wrong about this, but again, this is long time, bestie. I've known Kellie for
Mhm,
some time. I think, and I've heard other women say this that are in your category, Kellie. So again, if I'm off base, tell me.
mhm.
Women who are so about their business and dominant and kicking ass in life sometimes don't attract the strong enough man to kind of, navigate with that. You
Right.
sometimes end up with really soft, uh, n- like nervous guys. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes people feel because she's got it going on and she checks every other box, but like they almost don't expect that you also want someone to make you feel warm. You want somebody to make you, to to,
Right.
to cuddle under, to I don't want to say be the man because that's like all stereotypical stuff. But I've noticed that there's been a couple women who are all my female friends that are like badass. They kind of struggle with that sometimes, and I think you do too a little.
I definitely do because I don't think that they can, and it's also an unfair thing I think that women like myself give to whomever is on the other side of our dating life. But and someone said this to me recently and I'd never even thought about it that way. And it's seems so obvious, but that's probably what attracted the person to me in the first place, was
Mm.
that I was so this way, that way, and such a go-getter, and but then to turn it off in my relationship becomes unattractive because that's not what they were looking for. So then it kind of becomes unfair, right?
Well, that's the problem with straight men, first of all,
But
because a
I
lot of
can't believe I'd never thought about it that
yeah,
way.
because a lot of times it's the inner workings within self
Mhm.
that like it's kind of like that thing, and hopefully I didn't jump over what you were saying,
No,
but
no.
it's that inner workings of God, this could be a topic, an episode in itself. It is the inner workings of like let's just two different people. It's the wife and the husband, but the wife makes more money. That shouldn't be an issue, but society keeps telling some guys, insecure guys,
Mhm.
that like that's a problem. So it's in the same vein of that, I think.
Right.
I only
Well,
mention it because go ahead, go
oh, no,
go.
I was gonna say, so I have recently was talking to someone that I had dated for a while, and we had this conversation,
Because
and
Kellie
he
loves to revisit.
I
We're
do
we're
love
gonna
it,
talk to
but
Spicy Marty.
it was an accident. It was an accident that we
She's
had
gonna
this
tell you no.
conversation.
She's gonna tell you no for this, but
But
go
it
ahead.
was an accident that we had this conversation anyway. But we were talking about something that I was telling him I was going to do something. I don't remember, and he made a comment that was like, "See, that's why this never worked." Meaning him and I.
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh, well, what do you?" He was like, "I was like, well, what do you mean?" And he told me he was like, "Because you have more balls than anybody that I know, and definitely more balls than me."
I think I famously quoted that on this episode a couple times too. I mean, she scares me also. What are you gonna do?
And I just started
Yeah.
laughing with it, but that's what that is. He was like, you just do things. You're not afraid to just do anything. And I was like, yeah, but you're courageous in other ways. I worry about the consequences later and you list them out. And that should
Yeah.
be a good balance. And he's like, yeah, but I focus too much on them and you don't focus on them at all. And I'm like, no, okay. But it's just no, but I get that though, because that could be very scary and,
Mhm.
because it also may seem not oh, how do you say, where you don't seem like you're stable, because
Mm,
it could just be like, oh, you're just such a risk taker and a go-getter that you would leave everything behind and not care, and that's not necessarily true either.
mm.
It's still, you can still take risks and want the bigger life and the better things, or to do things that you dream of or whatever, without necessarily being like irresponsible. And I think that's where that fine line is.
Well, I hope the next man you date is well hung and confident, and let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, yeah. Bring me that energy, please, everybody.
Okay, the next one. Sagittariuses are the end of the year. In terms of when a Sagittarius is.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
What
us
is
and
your
Capricorn.
Yeah, what is your favorite part of the fall and winter seasons?
I love Christmas. Like, I just love, um, I do. Like, I love Christmas. That's my favorite. I like the cold weather a little bit, but not too much of it. But I just like
There's a coziness to it.
I like the coziness of it, yeah. I like
Mhm.
the coziness of the winter. I love all those, me, I told you I've been watching Hallmark Christmas movies since July. Like
Yeah. No, I know.
like I love that idea of it. And I mean I miss like going to up in the mountains and all that I used to do with, before I started my new business, but I miss that, traveling and that stuff. But those are my favorite things. I like the coziness, sitting by the fire and being in the snow and like all that stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
What 15 questions with the Sagittarius. Happy birthday to Kelly.
Thank
What is
you.
your comfort food or cheat meal?
Ooh, anything Mexican food. I make like a taco salad that's kind of my thing. Like I love it.
Mhm.
And I probably eat it way more than I should. But it's just like a homemade thing because I'll make my own salsa and like this stuff, and it takes
May
me
I
probably like 10 minutes to make it, and it's my favorite thing.
may I say I've had more pozole soup, like it's soup,
Ooh,
than any any fall and winter season.
really?
Yeah, I'm like all about it this year. Not
Oh,
that I wasn't before, but like it's just I keep running into it.
yeah. Well, I've
And
been cooking so much more, and it's so funny because people are like, "I never thought you would know how to cook, much less like be cooking." I'm like, I take a little bit of offense to that, but I'm a pretty good cook.
if they would come to this show, they would get all the
They would
information.
get it all, I know. But I also love making like a caldo, like my own version of it.
Mhm.
I love that. I'll make pots of it here at the house and
Yeah.
for my family and stuff. And especially when anybody's sick, like I'll make a huge pot of it and
Well, maybe we'll manifest your cooking show that I will produce, and
yeah.
we'll all be making money as
Yeah.
well, all the
Yes,
time.
yes, yes.
Um, my next question is, okay, seeing as you studied film and television,
Mhm.
which you mentioned here on the show, if you could wave a magic wand and direct any TV show, what would it be and why?
It would be a TV show of my own because I feel like
Oh,
I have
she said, Shonda Rhimes, you ain't nothing,
I've got
nothing.
my own
Ryan
I
Murphy, who?
I would be, yes, the next, which I still feel is a possibility. So I have some really interesting stories that I want to tell, and that's
Great.
what I would do. Yeah.
I I appreciate the boldness in this. Me, I
Hence
didn't.
the reason I have so much ball, right?
Oh, yeah, I didn't study film and television, so I'm a little more. I have eagerness in that world, but definitely still navigating.
Mhm.
Lots to learn and stuff like that. But I also think that sometimes you have natural God-given talent, and I'm not saying I've had natural God-given talent. I'm just saying I've done radio for so many years and producing and podcasting and stuff of that nature, like all of the facets of it. I feel like at the end of the day, you start to mix and mingle skill sets. So I sometimes dream of having a mentor to kind of grab me and navigate me.
Mhm.
I mean, we would work together, but we navigate together in
Yeah.
nothing
Well, no, I
crazy.
think you have such a great talent for looking taking a creative element and looking at it in such a way that you can actually turn it into something great
Hmm.
that it
Oh,
might
nice.
not be at first. So like if when the time comes that I do that, I would definitely, you know, want your eyes on it to say, okay, like tell me everything I need to cut out. How can I make this into something that will
Yeah.
actually be watchable? Because
I
I
think
feel
that
like you have such a great talent for that.
I think that's great and fun, and I'm also, like, navigating and growing in the world of radio yet again, and our podcast here and the other ones I do, and the other ones I consult on. Wow, that's a busy day.
That's a lot. Yeah.
But I'm also, like, really eager to move into these other worlds, so I'm totally on
Well,
board
like I
with a lot
told
of
you,
that.
I wanted us to do some little spin-offs where we
You
tell a story,
did. You
where we
did.
like some of these
And we
stories
will,
that I want to tell that
and
we
we
do,
will.
like
Yeah.
the old school soap operas before there was television and they would just listen to them on the radio.
Uh-huh.
Like I kind of
Yeah.
want to do that. I think that would be fun.
Difficult podcasters is the brand, so there's a lot to go off of. This is just the beginning, really. And for anyone
Yeah.
who's been supporting, we love it, but it's gonna get bigger and better. 15 questions with the Sagittarius. What's your most embarrassing fashion trend?
Oh God, I've got so many.
Oh, I was like, maybe you don't have any.
Oh my gosh, so many, so many. So I think my most embarrassing was probably when I was like in 8th grade and I like wore the socks with like the Birkenstock sandals. Like,
Oh, well, but that's so yeah, I mean, that was corny then, but, like, people
but with like the boy clothes, like with the oversized shorts and like
yeah.
it was
Yeah.
terrible.
Those Birkenstocks in general were really popular.
No, they were like the whole thing, but it was I should have never. It was terrible, terrible.
Anything else you wanna share?
um,
Was it mostly all, like, junior high stuff? Probably.
yeah, mostly. And then as I got older, like I only ever wore black as a publicist. I was
Mm.
always in black all the time, so I really didn't have. I
That was her
really
uniform,
that was
yeah.
my uniform. All my clothes are black because I was always at events and stuff.
Speaking of being a publicist,
Oh, my short haircut. Let's talk about that.
ooh, we have hammered that topic.
Yes, but yeah, that's the other one. That was not my fault. But go
Oh,
ahead.
no, no, it wasn't your fault. As a publicist, if you could go on tour with any artist, who would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
You wanna revisit? Wanna come back to that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Are
go
we
back to
not
that.
at 15 questions yet?
I don't even
I feel
know.
like our like that had to be 15 already.
Maybe it's 15 plus 5, I
Okay,
don't
go,
know.
go. Okay, yeah, let me
Um,
think about that one for a
I'll
second.
just go through these real quick. What's the best thing about being a Texas girl? Because, you do mention you're from Texas quite a bit on the show.
Mhm.
We met in LA, you spent 20 years, so there's an interesting dynamic between all of that.
Yes, there is. I love Texas, just I will always appreciate the overall personality traits that I gained being a Texan. Um, just the Southern hospitality, that sort of thing. Just I love that about being a Texan. Everybody's so proud to be a Texan. I like the pride.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
What is something amazing about Texas that most people don't even really know about, opposed to the people that grew up there?
That it's not just cowboys and ranches. Like there's actually some really beautiful hot springs and
Yeah.
rivers and spots to see
And
that's
it's not
around
the
what you
Austin they show you on TV
No,
either.
no. In all honesty, I don't even recognize Austin anymore. I just was downtown yesterday and was just like, "What is this place?"
Mm,
But no, it's changing so much. But I mean, I
yeah.
kind of miss like small feel of it because now it's just becoming another version of LA, which is so funny. But
Wow. Didn't see that coming, but yeah, I guess so.
I mean, it really is. Yeah, we got studios coming to town. Like it's nuts.
Um, this one you'll like. And you're right, it might be more than 15 questions. It's just there was things that I just sort of wanted to know as we got going on this segment.
Mm.
What is the emotion behind being a four-time dog mama?
Oh goodness.
You see, even if I went over 15, it's worth it at this point, right?
I
Because
know.
your
Well,
dogs are your everything.
they are, and it's so
And
funny because
why
I
do I
kind of
know? Why do I know? Because I dog sat.
Yes, you did. You puppy sat for me. Yes, you
Mhm.
did and did
There
a
was only
very
two
good
there was
job.
only two at the time, which it was a challenge for me.
And
I
now
could
there's
never
2.
do four. Two was enough.
I know.
But I loved that. They were
I
so
got
cute.
into kind of like a Facebook thing over like how, how family is your dog, right? But I mean, I mean, my dogs are my kids. Like I talk to them like kids. People make fun of me. They have their own stuff. They know when I say, you want to puppy this or puppy that. They know exactly what that means. People laugh at me, but I'm like, if you don't want them getting in your stuff, you got to tell them that's not for puppies and they won't touch it. They don't listen, but as soon as I say that's not for puppies, it's sure they drop it out of their mouth. Like they
Mm.
are my kids. It's hilarious. And I don't care what anybody says. They're my babies. And if you don't talk to them right and give them the commands, they will not listen to you. And then it's your own fault.
Well, I was really wonderful with Molly and Jax.
Yes, you
So
were. You did a
yeah,
very good job.
when I
They
do
didn't complain.
when I do a Texas visit, I'll have to see them all.
Yes. I
And
know
then
my babies are getting up
Kelly
there.
could show me Austin and be like, "This is not the real Austin."
Yeah, no, I'll show you the real Austin.
um, I like that. I like to hear about the dogs because I know they are so important to you.
Yes, my baby.
2 questions, and we don't have to go back to that other question if you don't
That
want
other
to.
question is a good question. It's just hard. I mean, because growing up in
We
radio with music and like all that, it's like
we
that's a
could we
hard
could we
question.
could push it to another episode. But anyways, two more
Mhm.
real quick.
Okay, go.
If you had additional resources, what would you like to accomplish? And I ask that because not to be a pessimistic, but I'm always like, I feel really good about what I got going on, but
Mhm.
I'm always like, dang, a little more resources, I'd be just. And everyone says this, but I feel so close to a lot of things, but sometimes lately,
Mhm.
resources have been a problem. Do you find that as well?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, everything's so different, and especially starting. I left a career to start something on my own, which is scary
Hmm.
and all that just within itself. But what's funny is like if I had extra resources, I wouldn't even necessarily put it to that. Like I would want to do something completely different because that's how my crazy mind works. Which is probably why nobody wants to date me because I'm wanting to do too much stuff. But I want to start. I've always, ever since I was a kid, and I hope I can do this before my time is up on earth, but ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to have a home for kids
Hmm.
that was not really an orphanage, but it was just a place for, orphan children to come, but it would be just like a big, like family house. I've always wanted to build something like that, and now I wanna add dogs. So make it like a sanctuary for, for kids and animals where they can learn how to take care of things and nurture things, and everybody gets a fun new home.
That is one thing that even Kelly's sister, who sent in a video last year for our Sagittarius episode, birthday episode, that Kelly's always, in a good way, but sometimes in a whoa, that's a lot to take on. She's always interested in changing up and pushing herself and trying new things. Like you really don't sit in one space of even your success.
Right.
Like there was a part of me that thought, like, oh, you would always be a publicist, but like you literally said, it's a good paying job and stuff. And you like, I'm switching up. And I've, not to give all your information, but even before that, years ago, you were about to switch up and do some other things too. So it's
Right.
like, you could never count you out in terms of what you want to take on. So I get that. Last question, the best question ever. Are you ready for it?
I don't know.
Okay, it's the best question ever.
Okay.
15 questions with the Sagittarius, but it's probably like 20 questions. I don't know. What do you think about your co-host? Bam.
Oh, I have the best co-host. That's what I think.
Da,
I
da, da,
do.
da.
I think I have the best co-host. And I think that even when we have any sort of like disagreement or miscommunication or anything, I love that it's like so put out in the front and just like taken care of like so
Mm.
immediately. But you are also one of the most hardworking people aside from myself that I've ever met, which I totally respect and admire about you because you are doing so much more than I am. So I think you're a little bit worse than I am with that doing other stuff. You
Although
might
now,
stick in one lane, but you're doing 75 things in that lane.
although now, yeah, now I'm telling people you need to pay me for my time.
Yes, yes.
Like my negotiating isn't as nice as it used to be.
Yeah.
But you have to cross over and like own the success and the pride you have in what you do.
Yeah.
Do you want to revisit that last one that was a little tougher of a question? Which one was it?
Oh, the one about the music artist
Yeah,
that I
it
go on
says
tour
it
with
says I'll
them?
read it one more time. As a publicist, if you could go on tour with any artist, who would it be and why?
Mm, gosh, I don't think I really have an answer. I
Okay.
really don't. I mean, I love so many artists and just
Can,
find
can,
them.
can I name somebody?
Yeah, go.
I think Sia would be so interesting.
That's a
I
good
think
one.
Sia would be so interesting. The longevity of her career, the switches and change ups in her career,
Mhm.
um, and just she seems like a cool lady.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could, like, I mean, it would be cool, like, back in the day to go on tour with, like, Tina Turner
Mhm. Mhm.
or, even Whitney Houston or,
Yeah.
like, I would think, like, backwards. Like, who did I
I think
never
my
get to see and,
ultimate,
like,
but I
miss?
would
Or
I w-
Michael Jackson, but
my ultimate, although I wouldn't say this as the answer because
Mhm.
they say don't meet your like your superheroes,
Right, yeah.
but I just feel like she'd be so wonderful. And it's not J Lo. It's not J Lo. It's not J Lo. It's someone J Lo respects, which is Janet. And Janet just to me is
You
such.
didn't meet her? When
I've
she
never
did
I've
when
never
she
met
did,
Janet. Mm-mm.
I did, and she
Of
was so
course,
nice.
Kelly always won at the radio station, and I always failed.
Well, because I was escorting Lenny Kravitz and Enrique Iglesias, and she was performing at that. I don't remember which concert it was. I don't
Hmm.
It might have been, like, the 4th of July, like, America Fest or something,
Yeah.
because it was at the Rose Bowl, so whichever
Oh,
one
right,
it might
Rose
have been
Bowl.
Wango
Yeah.
Tango, I don't remember, but,
Well, there was a Rose Bowl Wango Tango. I remember
yeah,
that
there
one.
was a Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
It might have been Wango Tango. Yeah, but
Um,
she was, like, awesome.
she intrigues
I
me
mean,
so much. The whole like quiet demeanor, but then like on stage, she's like a different person in
oh,
terms of the
yeah. That
entertainment
would be
value,
that would be a
which is
good
such a
one.
relatable thing. Because how many people do you know that are so out there, like on
Mhm.
terms of their work, whatever that is, and then as a person, they're like a little more reserved.
Yeah.
As I said in high school, they were like, "Oh, he's shy." I don't know if I was that shy though. I just was quiet, and I wanted everyone to, sort of like me in a way. I
Yeah.
do know that I worked for that. Anyways, this is Sagittarius moment. Ronnie, stop talking about
No, but there's
yourself.
just so many great artists, and I'm such a creative
Mhm.
person that I just love and respect, like, so much, and I've had the fortune of being able to be in these rooms with these amazing creative people and have conversations and just, even if it's, like, short ones, but to be able to just kind of absorb some of that,
Yeah.
greatness that they have to offer, and I've been very fortunate in my career to be able to do that. I think that's another reason why the question's so hard, is because
Mhm.
I've just, met so many great and talented people, and there are so many, just, like,
Um,
so many.
that is true, and I don't have offhand a photo montage to accompany what you say.
I don't think I
Although
could.
although in the production
Oh,
aspect
you have yours.
of
Yeah.
me, I do, and I'm stating the same thing. One thing with Kelly and I, it's like you when you're trying to do a show, you're trying to decide what's different about your show. Now, granted, none of us have been a
Mhm.
household name, et cetera, but we've both had an insane amount of success and an insane amount of stories. And I would like to think that when you come here, you know that we're just not two schlubs. No, Kelly's not a schlub, but I'm a schlub. I don't even know what schlub means. Is that like like a lazy guy?
Yeah,
We're
I
not
think
just
yeah.
I'm just saying we're not just people who are just like, hey, let's just do this and talk about nothing, which is fine. We actually
Right.
have a lot of navigation within. I wouldn't even call it the showbiz because that's not what's important, but around creative people. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
And I just would like I would like if anyone loves our show and found our show because this is a Sagittarius episode, and I know our Sagittarius episode did very well last year. I would like them to understand that like we're patient because we've been in this for a long time and we've got great stories, and
Oh,
and then and,
tons of stories,
and a
like,
20-year friendship. I mean, you just can't
yeah,
write that. Yeah,
no,
you can't write
no,
that.
I mean, there's tons of great stories,
Mhm. And if
probably
you would
some
like
we
to donate,
shouldn't
you could hit the Cash App. No.
share. So, probably some we shouldn't share, but, I mean like, mentors and different things just,
Yeah.
you know it's been a very wild ride through all the years, and I appreciate it so much, and I wish I just probably would have taken a beat and enjoyed it a little more than I did, because I was always so go, go, go with that face that I just didn't really, like, I didn't really let it sink in as much as I
Same,
wish that I would.
same,
So that
same.
goes back to, taking a minute for yourself to get through anything with life, but knowing that it's okay. Like, you can stop for a second. Like,
Hmm.
the world's not going to end if you do. And I think that was a very, very hard lesson I didn't learn until recently, which is unfortunate for me.
The way we feel like we have to write our success story at 22 is unreal
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
a lot of ways. And Kelly and I, like I said, we go back. I mean, as you see here, if you're checking out if you're listening audibly, you don't get to see, but there's some photos that we're showing. We have just been involved in so many projects together over the years. Podcast stuff in the early days of podcast, but even like with our radio group of friends or whatever. And I forgot the moral of that story. Why did I say that?
But there's so much. I mean, it's funny because I look back and I talk to people, and when I start talking about my career, sometimes I sit back and I think I haven't done much. But it's like I had a radio show when I was 19. Like I started running the boards at 18. I had a show, like a significant show at 19. And then, and then I transferred to a bigger station, and then I transferred to LA, and then I was doing all the concerts and all the stuff. And then I was, I worked at these big companies, and then, it's just like, and then in that like span of years. And it's just like, wait a minute, I have done some stuff.
And sometimes things feel almost like little. You're like, this can't be like a real accomplishment, or
Yeah.
people aren't going to look at it the same way. But last week's or one of the previous episodes we did, I told you, oh yeah, and by the way, I was in an Naughty by Nature music video, and by the way, I was an extra on this show.
Yes.
I mean, just an extra. But like, just even the fact that like you just keep adding these stories, in terms of your radio stories, your being on set stories, your production stories. It's really something to be proud of. Anyways, we keep talking. We got to shut
we can
up.
Talk forever. We can talk.
Just shut it, Ronnie. Just shut your trap.
I love all things Sagittarius. I'm gonna do some TikToks with some fun little Sagittarius traits, like all for the rest of the week, because I mean it's my birthday month, so I'm gonna celebrate every single day.
There you go. Good. I'm gonna end it with this. You're gonna have the last word, but here we go. What's your name?
Kellie.
No, you were supposed to say From How I Met Your Mother. What's your name? Sagittarius. Okay, this one missed her cue. We gotta go.